completely overwhelming. It's so difficult to know where to start, what to do, and you've got all these people online telling you that you're doing everything wrong. Where is it that you're meant to begin? Today, I have 10 top tips to share with you. Welcome everybody. My name's Owlvine Green and I've been practicing magic for over 11 years now and working as a professional in the industry for over a decade. So I've picked up on a few things over the years and I want to share those with you today. My number one tip is that you don't need any stuff. You don't need an altar, you don't need a wand, you don't need a cauldron, you don't need all the trappings, you don't need the aesthetic, you don't need the clothing, you don't need purple hair, you don't need any of these things. You've probably heard witches say this before, and then you look behind them in their videos and go, but look at all the stuff that you have. Listen, the stuff helps. Having tangible things to play with, ingredients, tools, can be really, really helpful for focusing your energy and intention. But if there is ever something you don't have on hand, you don't need it. All you truly, truly need is your intention, is your energy, is your will. It does take time to learn how to wield these things, learn how to tap in and go, okay, I've got a hold of my magic here and I'm doing something with it. That takes time and practice to feel as if you are really in the current of magic. So the stuff can help you in that interim. It's really fun. It's really nice to have, but please don't ever let it stop you. If you ever come across a spell or a spiritual or magical process that you want to try and you don't have the things that someone else has told you that you need, I would really encourage you to find witches that you can chat with about this kind of thing. I'm always happy to talk about this kind of thing with you guys. This is the work that I've done for the past decade. I work with a lot of new witches and, I outline spells and rituals for them. And many of them come back to me and say, I don't have these particular ingredients, whatever it might be for them. And so I've worked with a lot of witches over the years trying to find what it is that they have on hand. Because my love, even if you think you have zero tools, you probably have a ton of stuff around you that any witch who kind of has a bit of knowledge would walk in and say, oh my God, like you're surrounded by ingredients and you have no idea. So know that anything from your garden, anything you find outside is a really powerful ingredient that you can use in your craft. And most of us have kitchens that are filled with magical herbs and all of the tools that you need. Cauldrons are old school cooking pots. That's what people used to make their meals with over the fire every night. Now we have these pretty little cauldrons, right, that we only use for magical purposes. But if you don't have that, all you need is something like a cooking pot or a heat-proof dish, for example. So my loves, you don't need any stuff, but the stuff can help. Tip number 2 is that acquiring things is often a distraction. So we live in this wonderful time where we have so much available to us. We have thousands of tarot and oracle decks coming out every year, thousands of witchcraft books, and all the little knickknacks and things in between. Anytime you go onto Instagram, there's witchy stuff being sold to you, right? Like there's so many wonderful things that you can bring into your practice, either just to set the mood of the space or to actually craft with. But here's the thing I've noticed from my own practice and also from talking with other witches as well. Sometimes you can get into a mode where you feel like you need all the things, all the trappings of a witch, so that when people look at you through the camera, you can look like a witch. We feel like we need to have the physical trappings before we feel as if we are a thing. So this is something that happens with witches a lot. Instead of focusing on practicing their magic with whatever it is that they have on hand, instead they're focused more on buying the new things and acquiring the latest and greatest whatever. My tip to you guys is to have 1 or 2 things that you go really deep with. Spend months, a year, more with just one or two tools, and you will weave such a deep bond with them. I have a deck like this. So my very first deck was the Earth Magic Oracle, and I had only this deck for at least a year, and every single day I would go outside and sit on the grass, and I would, well, we're going to talk about that later, I would do a few energetic magical things, and then I would pull myself a card. Now I have a lot of decks now. I've got tarot and oracle and playing cards and all kinds of wonderful decks, but this one, because I spent my first year of witchery with it and I went so deep with it, only spending my time with it, I have such a deep connection and bond with this deck now. It's unbelievable. So know that whatever tool that you put time into, whether it's a deck or a particular herb or anything else, any specific magical tool, whatever it might be, when you spend the time with that thing and you do your magics or your spirituality around that thing, it will have such a weight to it for you moving forward in your practice. And that's something you'll never actually lose. It is really cool. It's kind of a hard thing to explain unless you are someone that has done that, but I would love to hear from any of our seasoned witches in the audience. What was one of your first tools that you really went deep with that really still holds a special place in your craft? I would love to know. My third tip is don't be in a rush to label yourself or your practice. We live in the great age of labels. There is labels for everything. There is labels upon micro labels. It's crazy. Everyone's got all the titles. The thing with labels is they can be helpful. They can open up new areas of exploration. But in my experience, and again, what I've seen from working with many other witches over the years, is that labels are often more limiting than anything else, especially if you're at the start of your journey. The only thing I can really see labels as helpful for is navigating online community and trying to find information or rather people that you vibe with. Labels are helpful for that, but they can really box you in. And instead of exploring all of the things that there are to explore, because even if you lived 2 full lifetimes and you only dedicated yourself to learning and practicing witchery, you would not learn everything there is to know. There is so much in this world to know. So if you label yourself as, I don't know, a crystal witch, for example, then you're only looking at all the crystal witch stuff. What about all of the things outside of that box? If you take on a label for yourself, it doesn't mean that you're inherently limited by that label. It's just something we tend to do to ourselves. We tend to sort of find that comfortable little box and we want to make it all pretty and just stay in our little box. And I would recommend, though I know the temptation is to find your label, what kind of witch are you? I get that, especially in the beginning when you're feeling so untethered and unmoored. But leave that space open for yourself to explore and to expand. Be uncomfortable with the space that you're in, because this is your greatest opportunity for learning and expansion and growth. If you can be uncomfortable with this uncertainty, not having a label, not having a what kind of witch are you easy answer, you'll find that you are exploring more and you're more open, and all the things that are for you will more easily be able to find their way to you. My fourth tip for new witches is to start with energy work. There are 5 aspects to basic energy work. The first 3 I kind of collect together. That is grounding, centering, or drawing your power back to you, and shielding. Grounding is when we connect with the energy of the earth. The best way to do this is by physically touching dirt. Put your feet in the dirt. Touch the grass. There is actually some kind of electromagnetic something, I'm not a scientist, that occurs when we touch the earth. It will physically ground you. In lieu of that, if you don't have a space you can go, or if the ground is frozen or whatever, you can absolutely do this as a visualization exercise. And personally, I find this most powerful when those two are joined together. When you physically touch the earth and you do a visualization as well. But this is incredibly simple. You just take a breath, relax, and then what I do is see visually roots growing out of whatever part of me is touching the ground, growing down into the earth. I might see these as colors. I get incredibly detailed now. And I'll spend a moment pushing out anything that is negative, anything that's heavy, any stress, any worry, etc. Give that all to Mama Earth. And she loves to compost things, right? She loves to take what is old and gnarly and turn it into some fresh new growth. So that's what we're doing here. Pushing that out. And then I spend a minute focusing on drawing up that power. That's grounding. Centering, I imagine energy tendrils coming off me. Wherever we're focused, we have energy going out. This could be on stresses, on worries, on particular people, on our children, on circumstances that are happening, on that awful conversation we had last week, whatever it might be. All these energy tendrils going off us, connecting to others and other things in the world. So to center, take another breath and just draw that energy back in. And I again do this visually. I imagine these tendrils and then drawing them back in to myself. Now you can say some words here. I draw my power back to myself. Keep it really simple. And thirdly, shielding. So what I do for this is I stand firmly on the ground and then I imagine a shield of light coming up from down below my feet and all around me. I see it as kind of an egg shape, but this could be anything for you. You could use different colors or you could use different imagery here. You could erect a stone castle around you, or vines might curl up and keep you safe, whatever it might be. But you draw up that power. I like to draw it up from the earth around myself. And that's as simple as it is. Now, let me know if you would like me to go into more detail on these practices. If there's enough of you that want it, I'll create a separate video which just talks about these energy practices, so you can follow along at home if you need that extra support. The other two energy works that are very foundational for all witches to learn is cleansing and banishing. These are kind of more or less the same thing, but this is getting energy out. So again, it's really helpful to have a tool if you're doing this, but you don't necessarily need one. Some of the tools that I really like for cleansing or banishing are bells. I like a singing bowl. I also like room sprays or burning herbs. A really classic one, of course, is sage. Rosemary is another great choice. Juniper, cedar. All of these are really good for driving out energy. The biggest key with cleansing or banishing work is you standing in your own power. You knowing that this is your space and whatever it is that's trying to fuck with you is not welcome. Having that kind of strength and authority within self is actually the most important thing. The tools, whatever it is that you use, whether you are using smoke or water or sound, these are all to support your energy. Your energy saying, get the F out to whatever negativity is around that needs to go. So if you're a new witch, I highly recommend that you practice every day your energy work. Grounding, centering, shielding, and cleansing, my love. Banishing is just like a more intense cleansing, in my opinion. Get your cleansing down and the banishing will follow. Number 5 is be curious and open. And this kind of goes with the breaking free of labels. Be open, experiment, read widely, try new things, explore. There is so much to the world of witchery, so many things that you can explore and discover. And my love, if you're a new witch, here's the exciting thing. You don't even know half of what is out there yet. Half of the things that are going to tantalize and draw you in. Gather resources from different people, from different walks of life, from different traditions, from different cultures. It will just help to round out your magic so much more beautifully and show you what's possible and what's really out there. It will give you inspiration for your own practice, and it will just give you so much fuel for making this beautiful thing, your practice, truly your own. Number 6, you're going to hear that you're doing it wrong a lot. So the tip for number 6 is to be very discerning about who you allow to speak with authority into your life. My loves, there are a ton of people that you can gather information from, whose feet you can sit at, whose channels you can visit, and whose wisdom you can download. But I just want you to be so careful with who you allow to say what about you and your practice. So many people get stuck because they hear you can't do that, or you shouldn't be doing that, or whatever the fuck, right? There's always someone out there who will have something to say to you, something about how you're doing it wrong or incorrectly, or how you shouldn't even be in this space. Don't listen to those people. Don't let those people be an authority in your life. Don't take on the things that they're saying. In this day and age where so many people are sharing online, it's a beautiful thing to be able to find other people that we resonate with, but it can also be very easy to find people who, let's say, talk really big about themselves, but who actually aren't people who positively sow into your life at all. This comes down to self-awareness. If you are spending time on someone's channel or someone's page or in someone's group or whatever, and they are making you feel less than, they're making you feel wrong, or like you can't, or like you don't belong, move on from that space. Block that person, mute them, leave the group. There are thousands and thousands of witches on social media now. People that you can genuinely connect with and who genuinely have amazing wisdom to share. So if someone is making you feel ugh in any way, you don't have to spend time in that space. I would highly recommend making friends with that mute button and just clear out your digital online space and your physical world if it needs it. And be very careful with the takes that you take on, the things that people say about you and your practice, because it really can cause a lot of harm. It can stop you from exploring and moving forward in your own craft if you listen too much to these negative Nellies. My 7th tip is about tools, and that is to use what you have, thrift, or wildcraft. All you need to do is think creatively, and just about anything and everything can be a magical tool. We've got herbs, we've got candles, we've got vessels or cauldrons, we've got oils, we've got waters, we've got all these very typical witchy things. But literally anything could carry an intention for you. That is all a physical object is. It is a thing that holds and carries our intention. It may have energy of its own as well, that it lends into the magic that you're weaving, but truly the magic comes from you. So when you need a tool, try and get creative. Look around and see what you already have on hand. And if you really want to get some magical tools, but you don't have a whole lot of cash to spend, then please, my loves, go and frequent your local thrift stores. Most of the magical things that I have, I'm going to say probably about 50%. Let's say 50% of the magical things that I use on a regular basis, my tools, are things that I have found very inexpensive on the side of the road. We have a culture of that here in Australia. I don't know about elsewhere. People chuck out their old stuff. Sometimes we have hard rubbish. They leave it there and you can go and find cool new things, stuff that you'd find at the op shop, charity store, or the thrift store. Going to thrift stores and just being creative, putting on that witch's hat and thinking, how could I possibly use this in my craft? It's so much fun to do that. And listen, it takes a little bit of time, but as you do this over the years, you will amass so many wonderful, lovely, magical things for very inexpensive. And of course, wildcrafting. This is when you go out into the world, into nature, into your local streets, into your deep urban areas, and you find things to use for your craft. These could be plants or stones or other nature items. It could be rubbish. It could be discarded things. It could be lovely found objects. When it comes to collecting tools, don't just go to Amazon. Use what you've got around the house. Do a bunch of thrifting and wildcraft. Get out and learn what's already around you in your environment. Number 8 is my new witch book recommendations. I've got 3 I want to share with you, and these are the 3 that I recommend to all new witches. The very first one is Magical Power by Deborah Lipp. The cover leaves a lot to be desired, okay, in terms of the visuals. I get it. But this book, if you want to be a spell crafting witch, because I know that there are people using the label of witch from all walks of life, but if you are a practicing witch, this is the book that I want you to get. It gives you all of the energy work. She takes you through the process one step at a time. Literally everything you need to know about crafting spells can be found in this book. Not only does she show you how to craft spells, she actually shows you how to set intentions, the work to do before you craft a spell, the work to do during the spell, and afterwards as well. It's literally everything you need to know as a new witch. So I highly recommend this one. Next, we have the Encyclopedia of Magical Herbs. If you are a witch that is like me, who loves to work with herbs, I cannot recommend this book highly enough. It is awesome. It has a ton of different herbs in here, many common ones. And it tells you their energies and their planetary associations, their elemental associations, their powers, how they can be used. And then what I love about this book is it gives you a few examples of how it's actually been used magically as well, which is really cool. Now, the best thing about this book, I've got to say, is the magical intentions section at the back. So if you are wanting to craft a spell, let's say for, oops, I just ripped my page. Let's say for love, you can have a look at this and just see what are the things that I have on hand. That's why I really love books that have this kind of thing at the back where the powers are there. It's so easy to look at. You can flick quickly to the back and just see what you've got on hand. The third book I want to recommend to all new witches is Rebel Witch by Kellyanne Maddox. Now, Kellyanne has a fabulous channel here on YouTube, so you can go and check her out. But this is the book that I wish I had when I was a new witch. This book will help you to craft your own practice in a deeply personalized way. If you are brand new to the craft, she actually goes through some of the very basic things about witchcraft in here, such as the Sabbats. We have 8 pagan holy days of the year. She goes through all of that in here, as well as many other very common things that people include in their witchcraft. But then she reveals to you so many creative ideas on how you can really make your practice fully your own and so personalize it with all of the things that are deeply meaningful to you. As I mentioned, this is the book that I wish I had as a new witch. So I highly recommend, if you are someone that is really into personalizing your craft and you just want to make this thing so your own and feel so fizzy and delicious and wonderful to you, then grab this one. My 9th tip for new witches is to allow your questions to drive you to grow. I bet that you have a ton of questions about magic, about witchery, about all the things. Let me let you in on a little secret though. You will always have questions. I find that I still have so many questions about witchery and witchcraft. But here's the thing, instead of wishing that away, like instead of wishing I just knew all the things already, I allow that curiosity to drive me. This really helps you on your journey because you will have ups and downs along your journey. You'll have times where you are deeply studying and other times where you're not really doing much at all. You'll have times where you are deeply practicing and other times where you're not doing much at all. But if you allow those questions that you have to sit on the back burner of your mind, they will drive you towards learning and studying as you go forward. And it's not even like you have to go out and search for the answer of your specific questions. Just sort of having questions in your mind will be useful, because as you go through various resources that you come across, every now and again, those little nuggets, the answers to those questions will pop out for you and you'll be like, oh, and it will just click into place. But there is something truly incredible and a level of depth that you can go to with your learning if you allow these questions to bubble. Now, this is uncomfortable, right? Because it's an uncertainty thing. We like to be certain. We like to know the things. We like to have it all like sorted. But because this witchcraft thing is just so big and huge, you're never going to get all the answers. But again, those questions can be fuel for you, driving you along. And it's so exciting. Like when one of them gets answered, when you get one of those nuggets and you're like, oh my God, yes. And it just clicks into place. It can bring puzzle pieces together for you. This is the journey of witchcraft. It's the little bits and pieces that you'll learn over time that come together to weave into this big, beautiful, unique thing. And finally, my 10th tip for new witches is to relax and enjoy. My loves, there is a spark, a wonder, an awe, a magic that is only available to new witches. There is this beautiful feeling of expansion and wonder that comes with being a new witch. And part of that is because of your naivety. And if you're anything like me, as a new witch, I was desperate to learn everything I could so I wouldn't feel so naive anymore. I was like, I don't like this, you know, I want to be over there. I want to be deep into my craft already. And as I moved through those first few years, you know, I eventually came to a place where I felt like, okay, I've got the foundation. But I noticed when that happened, something was lost. And it's hard to put a finger on, it's hard to describe exactly, but I know all of my seasoned witches out there know exactly what I'm talking about. So my darling, if you are new to magic, try and relax. Try and be present with exactly where you are right now. Know that all of that knowledge and all of that wisdom is coming for you. But try and just be with the magic that is with you right now. This feeling that you have for the first year, maybe 2 of your practice, it will go so fast. So just be in it, enjoy it, explore, be open, and soak it all up. You are in one of the most exciting stages of being a witch. As I said, all of that awesome stuff that you have the goals and desires to go towards, all of that is coming for you. But my love, take a breath and just soak up all the magic that is right now. There you are, my loves. I hope that you found these 10 tips helpful. I hope that they help you to navigate your craft with a little bit more ease and enjoyment. And I would love to know, which of these tips have you found most helpful? Which of these tips are you going to be incorporating into your path? And for all my seasoned witches, what are your top tips for new witches? What tips would you give if a witch came to you and asked, where do I begin with the whole witchcraft thing? Thank you so much for spending this time with me, you guys. I love you so much, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video for more magic. Many blessings.